can tell by the resounding, yes, we're awake. All right, well, good to see everybody this morning. Steve, you have an invocation for us.
I do.
Good morning, good morning. We have...
Steve.
Sorry.
Steve, backstage. Go back to backstage. You missed your cue. Steve Words. Invocation.
I had an invitation that I was planning, but my wife came to me and said, "Gee, why don't you give me one that my dad gave years ago?" Her father, George Kurzinger, was the second president of the Summit Rotary Club, and I think it's still very appropriately done. So please bow your heads. Oh, gracious God, we will never understand the sorrows of this world, but by your grace, we will never turn away from them. We are thankful to have been called upon to be a faithful part of an organization that dedicate themselves to service to others. Be with us as we labor to help those and others that are homeless, hungry, in despair, and less fortunate. Bless this food to our use and us to thy service. We ask in Christ's name, amen.
Amen.
Please stand for the pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Of the things we think, say, and do,
is it truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
All right, Steve. Oh, well, hold on. Time out. Rotary moment. We're going to get you in, man.
Rotary moment. This goes over, and some of the scholars are going to be appreciative of this. My first 10 years in the club, I spent most of the time in the summertime doing baseball and year-round being a scouter with the Boy Scouts. And the part of the Rotary movement is Camp Carefree. For 3 to 4 years, we would bring out the first-year scouts. They would camp at night, and sometimes we'd fix breakfast for the Rotary Rotarians. Somebody would remember that, or they'll fix the barbecue lunch for us. And in the meantime, they were hauling wood and so forth down to the docks. And Tom Sears was one of the ones that was really helping design what we were doing there. What was interesting, the last part of that 10-year moment is 2 years ago, downtown in Greensboro, there was 3 young men that walked up to me and, "Hi, Mr. Wirtz, how are you?" I didn't know who they were. One had a beard. Anyway, they were 3. 2 of them, one was a baseball player friend of mine that I played for me, and 2 of them were scouters that are Eagle Scouts. And I took the opportunity, I said, "Well, I haven't asked this question before. As an Eagle Scout, what was your best experience in scouting?" And they said, "It was going to Camp Carefree every year because we were helping underprivileged children and those who are handicapped to have a better lifestyle and better fun for summer camp." That's what we're doing.
Very good. Thank you, Steve. And Steve, I think I speak for everybody. No Shave November's coming up, so please bring back the stash. You got to bring back the stash. All right, other Steve.
What's a lepo? Okay. We got 31 Gate City Rotarians today. Abby Donnelly with, I believe it's Crescent.
Yeah.
All right. Chuck Burr is a guest of David Crabtree. David Adams, a guest of Ralph Jones. Nancy Micka, guest of Chris Justice. And Sally Milligan, guest of Tom Sears.
All right, very good. Thank you. Dale, anybody get older?
We have some anniversaries, membership anniversaries. Dale Hopkins will be celebrating his 3rd anniversary on the 24th, along with Erica Parker and Howard Driggers.
Terrible 3.
George Wigglesworth will be celebrating their 9th anniversary on the 20th, today. And Lisa and Buster Lewis will be celebrating their 37th anniversary today. And that's probably why he's not here.
Probably. I've been seeing lots of pictures of Buster fishing, so he's on the water somewhere. All right, very good. Who's ready to play the feud? All together now. All together. Yeah. Conrad's not even here. All right, so Abby, you're an esteemed guest, and I think we're going to have the Abby Donnelly family over here. I'm playing Family Feud. I have the Abby Donnelly family over here.
Play those guys.
I think the Mark Reynolds family is looking real good. Mark Reynolds family's looking real good. All right, Abby, I'm going to give you the honors. This is the Family Feud. You can choose to play or pass. Play or pass.
Pass.
Should have given her the choice. Okay. All right. So, all right. So, Doctor, this is what we're going to do. Here's the question. Real simple question, as they always are. Name a color leaves turn in autumn. There are 6 answers on the board. Name a color leaves turn in the autumn. All right. Orange, number 3 on the board. Good job. Good job. All right.
Red.
Red, number 1 answer. Good job. All right. What do you got?
Yellow.
Yellow, number 4 answer on the board. 3 more answers up there. Tom, what do you got? Rust. First strike. All right. 3 more answers on the board. What do we got?
Pink.
We're looking for the pink trees. All right. We're going for the obvious choice. Brown, number 2 answer. Good job. All right, Mark. Mark, your family's got 2 strikes on the board. 2 answers left.
Some of them stay green.
Name a color leaves turn in autumn. Green. All right, 3 strikes. The Abby Donnelly family. You have a chance to steal.
We're going to go with gold, Chris.
Oh, yeah.
Gold is on the board. There you go. Split them up. Yeah, you just split up the tickets. All right, good job, Abby Donnelly family. All right, the last one was crimson. Crimson for all you family fans. All right, well, did we do a football pool?
Rust is a color, buddy. I guarantee you. Rust is something we associated with, dementia and. Yeah, rusty plumbing, yeah.
Well, with pink, you're living in a glass house there, buddy.
It says Rusty almost sold himself.
That's all right. You
Hey, listen,
can have your fun with me.
when you're a kid in the school, there's no better, nothing makes you feel better than make somebody, have their milk come out their nose. That's the ultimate. Oh boy. Okay, for the dub this week. With 12 correct out of 20, we had a 3-way tie by a race for the bottom, right? Guy, Robondo, Ken, and Ben all had 12. I know you're hoping there, buddy, but no, unfortunately, Ben actually picked Tennessee over Alabama. So, Ben Brack, where are you? Are you here? If you didn't even show up to repeat, okay, well, in that case, Guy, congratulations, buddy. These are great crown removers, by the way. I buy them at the dollar store, put them out in the waiting room. They're right next to the popcorn machine. Okay, honorable mention, with 14 correct, Justin Yeah, you're a former duck winner, 14 collect,
Proud.
tied with Mike Andrews with 14. Second place, Tom Richardson, Chip Person, and Sean with 15 correct. Let's see. Oh, let's see. Tom and Sean both picked Green Bay to win over Dallas, so they're completely ineligible. I mean, who would think that the league MVP couldn't beat a 240th draft round? So, anyway, the winner though, again, but he's not here. Tom Phoenix. They get the scraper. So second place goes back to Sean. Where are you, Sean?
Sean Roberts.
Sean Roberts, I mean, sorry. Sean, you're not here?
Sean's not here either.
Okie doke. Well, Chip, congratulations.
Thank you.
And that will reach all the way across that Hummer.
I was just thinking.
All right, Chrissy, where are we at on foundation dinner?
Hey, so thank you for everyone that emailed me. We were able to register 15 Gate City Rotarians
Good job, Gate City.
for the banquet. I am going to continue to make registration, so if you decide you want to go, email me. I'll send out another reminder today, just so you can get the date and the information again to reference and see if you want to go. So anyhow, we're excited about having a table. And hopefully we're hoping to get what, 1, 2 more?
Yeah.
That would be great.
Another couple would be great. Thanks a lot, Chrissy. That was awesome. Our goal was 12, and we definitely surpassed that. I'm still open for at least a couple more weeks, but it should be a great evening. Got a former RI president that's coming to speak to us, so it should be fun to be had by all. Justin, we still got any golf to play? It's all over, right? You're done. Your duties are done. Excellent work. Excellent work. All right, Chip, you want to talk about pig stock?
Yep, we had a fantastic practice cook and world's greatest meal Sunday afternoon. We had a large turnout, about 45 Gate City Rotarians, and 2 sort of string pigs. So I went back to Ann's Triad Meat Market, and I walked in, and Sally said, "Hey, darling, how you doing?" I said, "Don't darling me just yet." We're friends. We bought a lot of stuff from them. Anyway, I explained to her what happened and whatnot. She assured me we had the right thing, but maybe it was the wrong cut, and they're going to try and do a little better. So our flavor was great. How many people were there Sunday? Pretty good turnout. A little over 45, I think. Maybe. Anyway, we had a great turnout. We raised $228 for the world's greatest meal, $5 a head. So that worked out pretty good. And we'll have another Pig Stocks organizational meeting probably Monday or Tuesday next week, just to get our ducks in a row before we have to take everything out there on the 28th. But we're in great shape, as we told
Abby's here, Ixnay, nothing else.
as we told folks last week when I visited there, we're only going to be cooking the winning entrees. So.
That's right. All right, Dale, want to give us a quick report on how the roof turned out?
Well, thanks to everybody that did come out and help out. We did finish. We worked real hard on Friday and got the sheathing done and everything ready for shingles on both sides. And the kids from A&T came out, a bunch of I guess it's Bob Powell's kids, and helped out on Saturday. So we got it done. It was a lot of fun.
All right, good deal. And give you guys a quick update on bell ringing. On the bell ringing, we did decide to go with, we're going to do part-time in week 1, so we'll do the second half of the day in week 1, and then week 2 we will do our traditional full-time. So those sign-outs are going to go out here in the next couple of weeks or so. And I do have a challenge for the club. And I want you guys to think about this. So we have however many sign-ups it's going to be. If Gate City can fill those up in the first 2 weeks, I will do my segment dressed as Buddy the Elf. Okay? So if you guys, and I have a full Buddy the Elf costume, I will absolutely wear it. And if you guys, now here it is. You've got to fill every single slot in the first 2 weeks, so that sign up is out. And I do my segment, and I typically take either the last or second to last segment of the entire thing. The whole family will be out there, and I'll do it dressed as Buddy the Elf.
If we get everybody signed up a week, will you not do it?
I'm just curious. Why do you have that copy?
I'll talk to you later about it.
Just a little role playing.
You should see Stephanie's costume.
Yeah, I believe it's Joby the elf is pretty hot costume. So. All right. All right, so in an unprecedented moment for Gate City, we have no Buster, we have no Bobby. So we are down to third in the batting order. Dan Quinn is doing Happy Dollars.
Grandpappy Queen.
So Happy Dollars.
I got one.
All right, Jim.
I got, let's see what I got here. There's two, there's three, there's three anyway.
Excellent.
That is for Dale Hopkins, and it just happens to come out free because Dale worked the roofing project all day Friday. He worked the roofing project all day Saturday. He got that roof done, and then he came out and helped another brother here in the Rotary Club cook chicken all afternoon. Wow. So my hat's off to Dale Hopkins.
I have a hefty $5, and it's to Dale and it's to the crew. I would love to have been with you. I had a house guest for 6 days, so but I couldn't.
Smell like fish.
But anyhow, I'm very proud of him.
Well, yeah, I wasn't out there by myself.
I understand. I understand for the I said the crew.
Jim.
This is a happy dollar. Now, Lisa Simpson is not here today, but what an awesome lady. She was up on that roof on Saturday and roofing and hammering away and had no gloves on. And I said, Lisa, you want some gloves? She said, no, I'm good. Well, she was a rock on that roof. Wasn't she, Dale?
Yeah, that's why she's not here today.
Howard. Woo!
So,
You won't change.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I realize how it works, and I was hoping that I could get a couple of attendances from Dale. You know, if he's going to be able to sell them.
So what now?
All the work you've done, you should be at 100%. But happy dollar going out to the Gate City Rotary Club. Did sell the car, and one day I would highly suggest if anybody has anything to sell, before they put it on Craigslist, they send it out to the club first, because what happened was I put it out to the club and then I started getting inundated by everyone. So Ralph Jones is going to get it for his one of his 2 boys, and he's getting a good car, and I appreciate all the interest, and I appreciate.
I made him remember that 4-way test.
Yeah.
Hey, Howard, what are you getting?
Justin.
Just a reminder, we are collecting canned foods at our office for the Second Harvest Food Bank, and one of our employees that works at her husband works at Grass, they're donating a quarter for a can towards everything. So the more we can get, the more they can buy with that too. So if you can bring it to the next meeting or whatever, I'll take it back to our office. So.
Sure.
So my 25-year-old son Jake was selected off of the registry for Gift for Life. He will be going up November 3rd to DC from LA to give bone marrow. So we're very proud of him, and it's a process now. I thought it came out of the hip. Now they just give you a really bad flu for a week to get your white blood cells going crazy, and then they centrifuge the blood and take the white blood cells out and give you your red blood cells back. So here's to hoping Jake does well.
That doesn't sound better.
Oh, it is.
All right, have a happy 5. My guest, Nancy Micka with the Family Support Network. No, you can't. She's going to talk very briefly about an event I've attended for the last couple of, last 4 or 5 years,
Yes,
I think. Poker for Previews coming up here on November 4th, right?
Yes, November 4th, you have cards on the table. We would be honored if some of the Rotary members would join us. It is a really fun event, isn't it, Chris?
Oh, it's a blast.
It's really good. We have poker, craps, roulette, all of those wonderful games. You're just playing for fun, but it is a lot of fun. We've got a great silent auction, a raffle, and it benefits our programs. We wouldn't be able to do all that we do without it, so we really appreciate community support. We are a Family Support Network of Central Carolina, and we provide support to 2 groups of families, those who have babies come through the neonatal intensive care unit, and families who have children with special needs. And both of those groups of families, when you receive a diagnosis that you didn't expect, it is devastating and hard. We want to make sure no family feels alone in that journey and help them find the support, education, and resources they need to be resilient. And that's about it.
All right, thank you. Thanks for being here. Definitely a fun evening, guys. You get to dress up, so take your spouses out. Either way, everybody gets to dress up in nice cocktail attire.
Everybody else comes.
Yeah, we'll not be dressed as I'll be going as James Bond that night.
All right, since Grandpappy just called me this morning and told me I was third string, he always reminded me that it was important to check your schedule and confirm your appointments. So he said, what did you do yesterday? I said, well, I drove to Myrtle Beach. I said, what are you going to do tomorrow? So I'm going to go drive to Myrtle Beach for the appointment that was on Thursday.
Well done, well done. All right, so it's always great when we have guests from outside the club come and talk, and that definitely keeps us energized. But I think some of my favorite meetings are ones where we hear from our own membership about amazing things they're doing outside the club, and that's one thing that we're going to be able to experience today. Ralph, you want to introduce our guests?
Absolutely. Chris stole my thunder a little bit. It is always a pleasure and a treat to have one of your own members come speak to the club, because we get to see David every day and we know what he's about. So Davis has served as the lead pastor of Calvary Church and Assemblies of God Fellowship since 1985. In addition to a Bachelor of Arts from Central Bible College, David holds a master's degree in ministerial leadership from Southern University and is presently enrolled in a doctoral program with Assemblies of God Theological Seminary. David keeps a busy speaking schedule at home and abroad. His writings have been featured extensively in several Christian publications. He's authored 3 books and is presently working on a 4th. He is the founder of Hope Ride, an endurance bicycle challenge in Africa that generates funding and missionary endeavor in Zambia. He also works with other pastors in Cuba and other locations. David also serves as assistant superintendent for Assemblies of God churches in North Carolina, responsible for the oversight and care of 310 churches and 700 ministries. David and his wife Sherry are proud parents of 3 daughters, 3 son-in-laws, and grandparents of twin grandsons and 3 granddaughters. So very proud to have David today, and it's going to be an exciting talk. Thank you.
I could have stopped today. There was one little girl, she couldn't have been more than 7, and she obviously had a little brother and little sister strapped to her back. He was under a year. She was standing out by the side of the road. I don't know what she was there for. As we were going by, I stopped and I thought, there's a whole story there. These are lives. These lives have value, real value. Hope Ride for me began as I was doing some cycling and raising money for some other missions projects, and it really wasn't satisfying to me. It was on a whim that with Jacques at a meeting, I just turned to him and said, Jacques, what if I brought some riders to South Africa and we were to ride for funding the ministry? And I remember his response. He said, oh, Pastor, he said, we have to do this. I mean, it wasn't like we could do this, or why don't we look into it? That's what I was expecting. He said, we have to do this. And I remember I called my training partner back home and I said, if I go to Africa, I think it was January or something, I said, if I go to Africa next January to ride, will you go ride with me? He said, absolutely. I mean, there was no hesitation. Every year it changes. Every year it takes on a new dimension. Wells are being drilled in their villages. If you really want the opportunity to change the world, you just don't find that many chances. This is the chance. for me, this is the chance. I know with Hope Pride, I can change the world for one child, or 10 children, or a village. I can change somebody's world. I still look around me and I don't see anyone else here. And so there's an opportunity to really make a difference in people's lives. The door is wide open, and not only can their lives be changed here in the present, but their eternal destiny can be affected.
Well, by now, most of you know what Hope Ride is. We ride a lot of miles, 100 miles a day for 6 days or 1,000 miles for 10 days, depending on the route that we take. And all of the monies that we raise, people sponsor us, all of the monies that we raise go to drilling water wells in Zambia. And we're talking about Mud Hut, Zambia. Just imagine poverty even at a primitive level. It's almost Stone Age in most of the places that we're working. This is Baratse land. It's a part of Zambia that's forgotten by the government. It's a part of Zambia that's somewhat neglected, and there's nothing out there. These kids, most of them they've never had a program for them. They've never had anything done for them. We're working with children in these areas, and you know the story I told when all of this started. I'm assuming that some of you know some stuff, and I can't fill in all of the gaps because of time this morning, but this all started for me when I heard about children being eaten by crocodiles going down to the river because their job was to carry the water for the village every day. And something inside of me said, not in my world. That's crazy. That can't happen. One thing led to another. Now we have a fabulous drilling rig in Zambia. We have bases there. It's been a 4-year process, but in 4 years some incredible things have been done. Let me tell you about this year's Hope Ride because it really was stellar. And first of all, I have Chuck Furr. Chuck, would you stand just for a minute? Chuck is my 30-year training partner, which is pretty amazing. We have run marathons. We've done some of the stupidest things human beings have attempted. We've attempted them anyways. I've always said that I'm probably the brains, and I say that with a caveat. I'm probably the brains of Hope Ride, and I just mentioned how stupid most of the things we do really are. But I'm the brains, but Chuck is definitely the motor. And this was our team this year. Caused a little bit of trouble for our organizer in South Africa when I posted this picture up on Facebook, because the guy in the middle, he rode with us last year but couldn't ride this year. He said, I want to be part, what can I do? I said, well, we need transportation to Raleigh to catch our flight and then transportation home. So he was our driver this year. We threw him into the picture, and in South Africa they were scrambling for 2 hours to see if they could get additional accommodations for a 5th person along the way. So I guess we've got some logistical work to do. We arrived in South Africa a day late because Delta did not hold our flight out of Raleigh. A thunderstorm came through in Atlanta, and so we had an extra day in Atlanta. Arrived in Shikwaru, 6 hours jet lagged, had to sleep quick, and then get up and get everything assembled. Usually we have an entire rest day to put everything assembled, the team totally organized, everything provisioned, all of the food, the 2 vehicles ready to go. But there's just a ton that needs to be done, and we had to do it in a morning. And so we were up before sunrise, which really wasn't a problem. When you're 6 hours off, you wake up at strange hours anyway. So we were up in the morning, and this is what it looks like looking out of the little cabin that I stay at. And this is at our base in South Africa. And these bronze drabs out front always make a nice setting for sunrise. But this is also at our base in South Africa. It's a 3,000-acre game farm, and I've never seen giraffe out on this is one of the hills, one of the mountains out in the back of the property. Never seen giraffe exposed out on a hillside like this, and it was fantastic. We just stopped and stood quietly for a while to watch these incredible animals, and they are really majestic. This is how we start Hope Ride, with prayer. Most of you know the story of me last year ending up with a fractured pelvis and sacrum, and we prayed just a little bit longer this time around, because I know we prayed last year, but anyways, I won't get into all of that. We've got to get into theology, and it's dangerous ground around here. So here's the start. This is out on the main road. We're getting ready to start. All of us are equipped with the same bicycles. We've just found that the Trek Damani is one of the toughest bikes built, and it's especially good on the roads. They're very good here in South Africa. They get worse along the way. We're starting out, we call this Pride Rock, although it's not Pride Rock, but it's just down the road from Shikwaru, and what you see with the 3 shadows and the 3 bikes in a line, you do that for 600 miles, and that's pretty much Hope Ride. Although your scenery's changing, it's just changing all of the time. It feels like being, I think Chip said last year, it looks like being out in the Old West, and in many ways it is, but then there's a disconnect. You look at the mountains, it looks, or the hills, it looks the same, but when you look around at the fauna and everything that surrounds it, the bush is just it's a different place. The first time I was in the bush, the first time I saw the bush, slept in the bush, I thought, man, there's just nothing out here. Now I find myself thinking, I could live out here. It has its own stunning beauty. I don't know if Chuck's ready to live there or not, but I am. I could tell some stories about Chuck the night we slept out in the Chobe with the lions roaring. And you don't want me to tell the story? Okay. Anyways, it's a great story. See me afterwards. This is climbing out of, in South Africa, we have to climb up to the plateau that leads into Botswana, and so this is the famous Kloof Pass, and we're just getting started here. We do this isn't the steepest part, but we do this for 10 miles. And so you just start grinding at the bottom, and you do not stop. God help the person who stops, because if you have to get started again, it's a lot harder. Plus, we're going to rag you to no end if you're the cause of us stopping. And so we're grinding up the Kloof Pass. Just so you understand what it looks like, here's the profile of Kloof. It comes at 40 miles, so it kind of takes just a little bit of starch out of your shirt. Do not take selfies while you're riding a bicycle. And this is after years and years of experience. I have a permit from the government to do this with a little phone or a little camera that I carry, just so we can get a few candids on the bike. I was being very safe, I promise, but just wanted to kind of grab a shot from the bikes. Once you get into Botswana, the roads, well, they kind of disappeared. This time we were on asphalt roads the whole way, because we have run across some dirt track that we've had to cross on road bikes, but the roads are in really bad shape, and this kind of gives you an indication. This is my favorite shot from the whole trip, because it really gives you a sense of what it's like when you're rolling along at 19 or 20 miles an hour in a tight line, and then the road just completely comes apart in front of you. So everybody just finds a line and makes their way through. One of our riders this year, Jeff, is a really good mountain biker. That's his background. And once we hit sections like this, he was always out front. He was like a kid in a candy store. He was bunny hopping over these holes and everything else. Chuck and I were holding on for dear life, but that's Botswana. I threw this picture in because every year in the Mokopane area in South Africa, there's a Toyota dealer there who every year gives us 2 4-wheel drive vehicles off his lot to use for the entirety of Hope Ride. And signs the papers over and everything else. We have to go through 3 borders with them, but every year, that's a huge investment. And so Toyota, they're a sponsor on some of our previous uniforms. We didn't do them as a uniform sponsor this year, but Toyota and Trek have really, really been incredible help to us. Our local Trek bicycle dealer here in town, Chris Peck, if you're going to buy a bike, if you're looking for somebody who can really help you, he's an incredible guy. And he'll help you out, and he's a supporter of Hope Ride. Another one of our sponsors is a brand new hydration formula called NBS, and stuff was absolutely amazing. I think it's legal. It's the one question I didn't ask, but it comes in a white bag, and then the guy gave it to me out of the back of a van, so it seemed to be pretty legit. But he provided all of the hydration powders that we needed. This stuff has none of the color in it, none of the sugars, none of the stuff they put in the stuff to market it. You look in the bag and it looks like somebody just shook up sugar and salt someplace, but it's amazing stuff. It really saved us this year. Back on the bike now, we're headed through a hilly section. This always kind of would give you the shivers. You'd see a mountain running up this way and the road going that, and you knew there had to be a cut there someplace. But even on those cuts, you know you're going to be climbing. And this is what Hope Ride looks like. It's all day. This was where we stayed our third night at Elephant Springs. It's a natural elephant watering hole. They have added from a well now. They have added a water system there so that they can keep it wet all of the time for the elephants. But Botswana has the largest wild elephant herd in the world. They are everywhere out there. I think this was mine, or this was mine back here where I was staying. Chuck was in one of the others. But you're staying right out with the elephants. It's really a pretty amazing place. And they are wild elephants. Around our little cabins, on the backside, they had these little concrete triangles, and the elephant's feet, if they were to step on those, it wouldn't be good. So they know not to do that. But they only put them around the backside to protect the backside of these huts. And I couldn't figure that out, so I went to the owner of the lodge and I said, well, why haven't you surrounded the whole thing? I mean, you know, these are wild elephants. He says, you have to understand, if you're just kind of quiet and you don't stir them up, the elephants have very little interest in you. They have interest in one thing, and that's the water hole. But because the elephants are coming from out in the bush, they come through that. If they'll push right through one of those little huts, if they feel like it's in between them and getting water. So they also in the lodge area, they've got these little triangles, these little concrete triangles with a piece of rebar. They've got them everywhere to keep them out of the dining area and that kind of thing. But you're really close. You're as close as that picture looks to elephants. This is what sunset looks like out there. An amazing thing from the bush. If you look on that tree over there and you see those nests. They're really pretty bizarre. If you're ever lost in the bush, and this is a pointer I know you need here in Greensboro, but if you are ever lost in the bush and you see a tree like that, you'll know your direction by which side of the tree those nests are hanging on. Somehow, I know, depending on your belief system, I believe God created the world and the animals and everything else. But in my worldview, God created the animals to build their nests in a place where they could capture the most warmth and the most sunlight at the end of the day. And they'll tell you, they've studied all of this, they'll tell you it's just an incredible phenomenon. And it does not matter where you go in the bush. If you see this type of bird building a nest, you'll always know where west is. And so it's kind of a phenomenal thing. This one hardly comes out. Can you see? This is what an elephant looks like at night about 10 feet away. Right in front of you, and you realize you're standing outside of the little concrete triangles. And so I snapped this with my iPhone, no flash. Snapped it with my iPhone, and you don't see it well here, but I can show you on the iPhone later. It's like a gray ghost, and there were about 6 of them there, and they just kind of loom. It's pitch black, and they kind of loom out of the darkness, and they were right there. Just truly an amazing experience. This kind of gives you a sense of what Hope Ride's like out on the road. If you see we're not riding all the way across the road just to take up the whole road. We're riding like this because the wind is blowing from the right side. And Jeff is out front there, and Chuck is right in the place where the wind is coming across him, where he can hide in his draft. And I've just finished my ride. I'm pulling up to get right into the same position on Chuck's wheel. And we're changing position all day long. So the guy out front pulls really hard. The guy in second position uses only about 30% less energy. The guy in the third position sometimes as much as 40% a reduction in energy. So 2 guys are resting while 1 guy's pulling, and we do mile pulls and we keep rotating. And it works out to going about 2 miles an hour faster across the entire day than you would if you were out there alone. This is Pantamatinga. This is still in Botswana. We're about to go into Namibia here. But this was just down at the water hole beneath the little chalet that we were staying in there. And there were 8 zebra there and a roan antelope over on the side. They had lions in just a couple of days before, a pride of lions, and they weren't there, unfortunately. Would have loved to have seen them. They did show me where my little cabin was. They said the lions come in on this path right here, and the path turned into the bush. And I had my camera, and I started walking down the path, and I thought, what am I doing? And I went back to my cabin. But anyways, it really is out in the bush. You see just about anything out there. We stopped and took this picture because this giraffe was just so interested in us, or seemed to be, just watched us forever. So we kept moving back closer and closer to get a picture, and pretty soon we crossed that line and the giraffe took off. But seeing the wildlife out there is amazing. Passing a bull elephant out on the way. You see I'm working hard, Chuck's got his head down working hard. That's because we've passed elephants before and we know what it looks like when they get a little upset. You see Jeff, it's his first time, so he's enjoying the experience. If this thing turns and starts with the ears like this, he's going to get serious really fast. We had a drone again this year, which was really great, and we got some good drone footage. The wind was really whipping on this particular day, and we flew the drone into trees, I think like 4 or 5 times. And one of the first things we had to do when we got back to the States is we had to order parts here and send them to the guy over there, because we crashed his drone so many times. Don't know if we'll be able to use it next time. When you hit Namibia, you hit poverty, and then when you hit Zambia, you hit poverty on a completely different level. It's crazy that you can feel the difference on the borders, but you can. South Africa is fairly prosperous. It's got some rough places, but it's fairly prosperous. Compared to the rest of Southern Africa, it's a very prosperous place. But when you get into Botswana, it's a little bit tougher, but still it's not so bad. But when you hit Namibia, you feel it, and when you hit to Zambia, it smacks you in the face. And this is, we're just getting into Zambia here. This is my Zambia. This is why I ride. This is what it's all about for me. There's no electricity. There's just nothing out there except people that it seems nobody really cares about. This is a common Zambian village where they've built their huts. They're building grain storage back here. That they're doing that in faith because they're in a massive drought, which is why water wells are so important right now. If they've got a water well and if somebody will teach them to do some tight cultivation, they can grow enough crops to survive. But if they don't have a water well, then they're dependent on more water from the Zambezi, and when you're living on the razor's edge and water's 2 miles away from the village, and you've got all of these people trekking back, it's a perfect recipe for disaster. Infant mortality is off the charts in Zambia, AIDS off the charts in Zambia. Every social problem you can think of, even in these little villages, it really is tragic. But it's a place where we can really make a difference, which is why I'm riding a bike and drilling water wells and taking the gospel and children's Sunday schools and feeding programs and schools. And there was nothing 4 years ago. It's just amazing what God has enabled us to do in this part of the country. This is what our last day looked like. I hate the last day because that's literally the profile that we have to climb on the last day. And the last day, we've come 600 miles north from South Africa, and the last day is hot. We were in the 90s, and you're just burning up out there on the road. It's our shortest day, gratefully, but it is the toughest day as far as profile is concerned. But this is coming into the finish. We're doing the last mile. You see the Zambezi out there, just out beyond us, and we're coming up on a tent that is full of children, and they come out, one of our children's churches, they come out and they do a big celebration when we come in on Hope Ride and give you a little piece of that. Hear them yelling Hope Ride. When we get there, we do a brief presentation with the kids, but we've got a whole team that's there, and then they've got an ongoing thing that they're doing all of the time with kids. We drop in for a moment and talk to the kids just a little bit. Let me tell you, it's pure joy when you've got this thing behind you, and you see the kids, and you see how far the ministry has come within a year, how far it's developed, is pretty exciting. I threw this picture in because this is Matt Rand, and I was hoping Matt could make it this morning. Matt is Matt's our driver and our logistics guy, and Chuck will tell you, we couldn't do it without Matt. He goes with us every year, and he is just, he's wired for this. And he's packing and repacking vehicles. He's ex-military, so some of you know what that means. He has got it down. And when we stop on the side of the road, generally he makes things happen so quickly we can be rolling again within 10 minutes. Everybody provisioned up, everybody ready to go, and he's back in the vehicle, and he's protecting us all the way. He's resting here. Can you imagine what it's like to drive 600 miles at 20 miles an hour? Close to, and you've got to stay alert all the time to what's going on with the bicycles, and you have to watch the traffic that's coming behind, so you make sure you're in a position to block and protect the cyclists. There's just a ton of stuff, and so I wanted to throw his picture in. Jeff's one of my new riders. I threw his picture in because I just got to tell you, this guy, when he said, I want to go on Hope Ride, and I went out for a test ride with him, I really didn't, he was a good ride, I just didn't know if he was going to be able to develop the speed or the stamina to be able to get it done. And he absolutely turned himself inside out. He did twice as much as he ever imagined that he could do. And this guy's really a champion. This guy, of course, Chuck. This is my favorite picture of Chuck because it really captures him. And so grateful for the team. This little boy is in a village that we're drilling a well right now about 100 feet from where he is. This little boy has river water here. He's not playing with this, he's drinking it. And when I first saw him sitting there, I thought, oh, he's got a messy, dirty little bottle of water, and I watched him for a little while, and Hannah, my photographer, was over here. I said, get his picture, and she got his picture, and just after that, he took that bottle and tilted it back and took a big drink. And that's why we ride. There are thousands of kids like this. And we can give them, the very least we can give them is clean water. I said to my partner over in South Africa, I said, what are the flags about? Oh, he said, you don't know? I said, no, I have no idea. Every Zambian village we were at, there was at least one of these flags up. I said, what's flag mean? He said, well, the flag means that a daughter just came of age. She just had her first period, and when the flag goes up, that's a signal to all the men in all the communities around that come make your deal. Come make a deal, come buy a wife. Come buy a wife. And in Zambia, they'll tell you, the government will tell you, they don't do this type of thing. It's everywhere. 13 years old, married off to sometimes a 40, 50-year-old man, as a fourth or a fifth wife if he's a real rich man, for a cow or for a smaller dowry. And generally pregnant within 1 year. By the time they're 14, they've had the first baby. And it's a crazy world. Have to change it. Kids, like I had to take this picture. This was one of the t-shirts we gave out last year with the old Hope Ride logo on it. It was jet black, pristine. This is one of the kids from the tent. He was there last year, and he was wearing the Hope Ride logo this year. There's a 15-year-old girl. She has a baby holding on. She has another one that's growing in her stomach, or in her tummy right now. This is Mama walking along with her. She's carrying 5 gallons of water from the Zambezi on her head up a sand hillside. This is one of our wells. This is my dad's well. I showed you a picture of it last year, and these kids drink from my father's well in their village, and they've just harvested. All of this was garden a month ago, and they just completely harvested the garden now, but what came out of the garden will feed the village. It's truly an amazing thing. I just want you to remember this image. That's why I do Hope Ride, and when people give me the money to drill a well, sponsors pay for all of the, getting the bikes there, getting us there. Sponsors pay for everything. Every dollar that you give towards Hope Ride will drill a well. Finally, that's why I do what I do. Thanks, Chris. Thanks.
David, thanks so much for the update. I know that I don't think the past President's Committee grants have been announced to the club yet, but I do know that Hope Ride's been approved again for one of our smaller grants, and I definitely appreciate what you do.
We don't consider that, but every year you've helped us with Hope Right. We don't consider it a small grant. We consider it an incredible blessing, and thank you so much.
Thanks so much. Unfortunately, we do not have time for questions, but David, if you could stick around for a couple of minutes, if anybody has questions, come up and ask for sure. All right, have a great rest of your week.